The Sorcerer's Apprentice, retold by Cyril Bavis, illustrated by Fabio Gambino. In an ancient land where the powers of magic flowed freely, there lived a boy named Tyrnian, whose hidden gifts won him the job of Sorcerer's Apprentice. This is his story. It all started when the sorcerer saw Tyrnian collecting honey from a beehive. Other children had tried to get the honey, only to run from the bees covered in stings. With Tyrnian, it was different. When Tyrnian approached the hive, he began to hum a simple tune. The bees grew calm and allowed him to pass unharmed. Seeing this, the sorcerer knew he had found his apprentice. From that day forward, Tyrnian spent his days in the castle, cleaning, organizing, and fetching for the sorcerer. Tyrnian was fascinated by the sorcerer's magic and studied the books of spells and potions whenever he had the time. Nothing made Tyrnian happier than having that time. So he was overjoyed the day the sorcerers planned to leave him alone for the first time. Unfortunately, just as the sorcerer was leaving the castle, he handed Tyrnian a list of chores, instructing him to do nothing else until they were finished. Tyrnian glumly reviewed the list, realizing it would take all day. He set to work, cleaning and organizing the castle, placing potions on the shelves, polishing the cauldrons, and finally sweeping and mopping the floors. As he was beginning the mopping, Tyrnian looked out at the sun sinking lower in the sky, wishing he could find time to study sorcery. Then he had an idea. Sorcery could help him skip the mopping. Tyrnian dove for the books, looking for the spell that would do the trick. As time passed, he began to despair. Not only was he unable to find the right spell, but he no longer had time to mop the floors himself. The sorcerer will be very disappointed, he thought. That's when Tyrnian spotted a scroll on top of the shelves. Climbing on a chair, Tyrnian could just reach the scroll marked "The Ultimate Power." This has potential, he thought. The scroll described a spell that granted the power to command any object. Tyrnian turned to the mop and bucket that rested on the corner and called out, "Cantastic! Bombastic! Bazan! Now mop these floors as fast as you can!" With an explosion of sparks, the bucket flew out the window and dropped into the well. Moments later, it came splashing back through the window and sloshed water onto the floor. The mop streaked across the floor, twirling and dancing and scrubbing. Tyrnian cried out for joy and joined the mop in its magical dance. That joy was short-lived. The bucket was not stopping. Over and over it streaked from the window, dumping more and more water onto the floor. Tyrnian reached for the scroll to find a way to stop the bucket, but as he grabbed it, the mop plowed into him, and the scroll fell into the water. Mortified, Tyrnian watched as ink washed from the page, dooming the castle to a watery destruction. Just when things looked hopeless, the sorcerer returned to save the day. "Awatio! Arrestio!" he shouted, and at once the bucket stopped still and the water evaporated. Tyrnian stood shivering. He was relieved, but still scared. He was on the verge of crying when a small grin appeared at the corner of the sorcerer's mouth, and then the grin grew into laughter. "My young apprentice," began the sorcerer, "I chose you because you possess courage and creativity. These traits helped get you into trouble today, but it is the same traits that one day will make you the great sorcerer you are to become. Never lose that courage, but no more sorcery today, please." Thank you for reading The Sorcerer's Apprentice with me. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more books to come. And if you have a book that you would like for me to read, put it in the comments section below.